Good evening, welcome to Central News for Tuesday the 25th of February. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Getting used to a new place can be pretty daunting. However, the University of Waikato ensures their students feel at home immediately, giving them a chance to familiarise themselves with the university as well as participate in numerous events. Hui Vu explains what to expect in this year's orientation week.
Well, traditionally, Orientation Week has been a one-week extravaganza here on campus where there's heaps of fun activities for all new students. It's a festival, really. These days, orientation is more also focused around the care and the academic needs of our students as well. So we run a two-week orientation, an academic orientation and an orientation. In the week prior to the commencement of classes, we offer courses and different tours and things for students to get acclimatised to the university. In the first week of classes, once semester starts, that's when the fun begins for a lot of the students as well. We have activities on the green all week with that.
Preparations for the 29th Child Cancer Toy Run from Cambridge to Hamilton are well underway, with 1,000 motorbikes expected to take part. Business Development and Fundraising Manager for the Waikato Child Cancer Organisation, Sharon Robertson, explains why the Ulysses Child Cancer Toy Run is such a special event.
It is an incredibly special event. The Child Cancer Foundation, the Ulysses Club, has been running this event for 29 years for us, and that is the longest standing fundraising event on our calendar. It's something special. The boys with their bikes, their love of the bikes, the children, the love of the toys, and our Waikato Child Cancer Foundation families are able to get on the bikes with the boys, have fun, forget about the problems that they have and have been going through, and just have a very special event. It's an incredible thing these guys do every year, and they keep coming back because they enjoy it just as much as the children.
Well, Tāne Wainuku Kiwi Trust supporters are eagerly waiting to hear whether the Trust will be named winner of the 2014 Mitre 10 Community of the Year Award this week. The Trust, which funds a project to establish a viable Kiwi population on the Oropi Reserve, was named one of the 3 finalists for the National Award earlier this year. The Trust is the only regionally focused group in the finals, competing against the New Zealand Council of Victim Support and Kids Can for the award to be announced on Thursday, February the 27th. Since forming in 2003, volunteers have helped transform the forest with an extensive pest control program to help bird populations recover by targeting stoats, rats and possums that prey on bird eggs. Routine monitoring by the Bay of Plenty Regional Council has identified potentially toxic algae mats covering the bed of the Whakatane River near Ruatoki Bridge in the Eastern Bay of Plenty. The local council has placed warning signs at the area most affected. People are advised to avoid contact with this section of the Whakatane River and be on the lookout for algae mats elsewhere in the river. Toxic algae often multiply to excessive levels during periods of warm, dry, sunny weather when river levels are low. In rivers, they can form extensive black or brownish slime-like mats that cling to rocks and logs. Significant clumps sometimes break off and float free, eventually collecting on vegetation at the water's edge. Now for the marine outlook, west coast southerly 15 knots dying away south of Raglan Harbour on Wednesday and a moderate southwest swell. Your high tide will be at 8:14 at night. The east coast, there is a developing easterly with 15 knots and fine. Wednesday's high tide for you, Tauranga, is 5:05 p.m. Just ahead, Hamilton's district plan. Welcome to Central News on TV Central. The Hamilton City's proposed district plan governs the way Hamilton looks and feels as a city. Anne-Marie recently spoke with Mayor of Hamilton, Julie Hardacre, about the submissions hearing and how this process has gone.
Look, it's been quite a long process, but one of the things the council did was put it out to independent commissioners. So effectively, they've gone away and they've run the process for us. There's been a lot of submissions, but over 50% of those submissions have been about Temple View, because there's big plans for Temple View, and there's lots of different views about that. So the commissioners are just about at the end of the hearings process, and the reports I've had is it's been a fantastic process. Lots of people have come along and done their submissions verbally. And we're expecting as a council to start receiving the decisions probably around April or May, and then we'll know where the commissioners have got on some of the issues that have been presented to them.
What's the next stage in the process?
So after the council receives the decisions, then the commission's decisions are final, and then there are opportunities for those who have made submissions to appeal if they don't like those decisions, and the council of course will receive them and have a look at what the decisions mean in terms of the plan that we originally put out. So, you know, there's another process I guess that will follow, but until we get those decisions, we really don't know.
Submissions have just closed for the draft local alcohol policy and also the draft psychoactive substance policy. They've been very popular submissions. How have they gone?
Look, I think there's over 500 submissions on the psychoactive substances policy, and that's the one that we started hearing yesterday. And we have a time frame program to make a decision about the policy before the end of February. So look, it's been a great day yesterday. We had a variety of submitters. We had the Business Association who took us through a number of issues that they are facing in the CBD from their members. And then we had people from Hamilton East, which of course has been very much a focal point in the media and for that community. And then we heard from the Star Trust, who represents a number of these businesses across New Zealand. So I think we had quite a balanced submission process yesterday. It was very informative, lots of passion and emotion, I have to say, from some people. A very difficult decision, I think, for us, because a lot of people would like us to not allow the sale in the city, and of course we can't do that. The policy that we are allowed to make under the legislation given to us by the government is we can identify where these outlets may locate, but we can't stop them from selling in the city. So I think a lot of people are disappointed in hearing that. So we're working our way through this. We've got the proposal out and we're into another day tomorrow, Thursday and on Friday.
You can find out more on any of the topics discussed at hamilton.co.nz. Last week we brought you an interview about the Youth and Alcohol Drug Addiction program that uses surfing as a means to rehabilitate. We continue tonight to find out what surf therapy is.
Surf therapy has been researched and used around the world, and it's the idea that surfing is a really positive experience and can benefit people in a lot of ways. Surf therapy has been used for kids with autism, it's been used with people who have been through abuse, it's also been used with people who have post-traumatic stress disorder, and all of the research has shown that it has a very positive effect on people's mental health.
Use role models in Taiora. Who are these role models?
A lot of the guys that come in and share their story with the young guys on Stoked are older men who have been through similar experiences and gone down those paths, but have since changed their ways and they're on a positive path now. So it's really cool to bring them in because these young guys love real stories and real people. They don't want to be told what to do or how to do things. They want to see with their own eyes what it's like and hear from people who have actually been through that stuff.
In your experience, what do you think makes young people turn to drugs?
Oh, there's a lot of reasons, but I'd say with the young people coming through Get Smart and going on Stoked, a lot of them have been through very, very hard things when they've been younger. They've grown up with a lot of violence, a lot of gang involvement. So drugs has been a part of their life from the time they were young. This program that we run is based on the Te Whare Tapawha model, which is Mason Jury's holistic approach with health. And one of the core aspects of this Te Whare Tapawha model is identity. And that's the foundation of what we stand upon. And if we don't know what we stand upon, we don't have a foundation in our life. And one of our core aims is to help these guys learn who am I and where have I come from, so they can stand firmly upon that foundation and grow in their strength.
What kind of drugs are most of these youth using? And do they have a problem with alcohol as well?
A lot of the young guys that we're dealing with on Stoked are using cannabis, drinking alcohol. Some have been using pee in the past, taking different pills. But by far, the most common drugs that we deal with in these youth would be marijuana, alcohol, and nicotine.
Do you think there is such a thing as a gateway drug?
I reckon there's definitely drugs that people start off with a lot more. Drinking and weed, but it's hard to know, eh?
Is Taiora successful? I mean, what is the success rate?
A lot of these youth who go through Stoked Taiora have rarely ever completed something. And all the guys that have gone through this have graduated. They've completed the 8 weeks. They've gotten their awards. Some of the biggest success stories that we've seen have nothing to do with drugs and alcohol. It's the kids we see learning to trust someone who have not been able to trust someone their whole life. It's the young guys who have been able to get back into school and pass their drug tests. We've had young guys go through this and then find employment. We've had young guys who have learned how to actually communicate and talk things through when they're angry. But ultimately, the success that we find is that these kids are empowered and they're able to make better decisions for themselves and see that they're in charge of their future and where they're going.
What do you think makes your program so successful?
I think Stoked is successful because it's real, and it's a program that allows us to meet youth on their level. We pick them up, we go surfing, we have food, we have fun with them. And it's just real. It's not scary, it's not threatening, it's not clinical, and it's something that the youth just enjoy and want to be a part of.
Coming up, we find out what is happening at the Wallace Gallery in Morrinsville. Welcome back. The Wallace Gallery in Morrinsville have thought of a unique way to raise funds for the gallery, and it involves good food, fine wine and great conversation. Gallery manager Leah Murphy spoke with Anne-Marie about a very special evening.
Leah Murphy, Director of the Wallace Gallery in Morrinsville. Welcome to Central News. Yeah. You've got a fantastic fundraiser coming up on March the 27th. Sounds fantastic. Tell me about Guess Who's Coming for Dinner?
Awesome. Well, yes, we do have a great fundraiser coming up. The whole concept is trying to have the largest dinner party in the Matamata Piako region. We're hoping to have about 240 people involved with that. So everyone comes to the gallery at 6 p.m. for drinks and nibbles. We then have 30 hosts who are involved, and they go and have a 2-course meal and then come back to the gallery at 9 p.m. for dessert and coffee and spot prizes. So
it sounds like a really fun night. Was it hard to find the hosts to cook the meals?
We've got a lot of really good supporters. Some of the hosts are volunteers and people who are involved with the gallery. Some are just people in the community that like helping out. And we've got quite a few people who are just foodies, and they just, why not have a bunch of strangers over to your house to enjoy some good food. So yeah.
What if people have allergies?
Oh, we have different dietary requirements that we cater to, so vegetarians, gluten-free. It's just about letting us know beforehand so we can let the host know, but we definitely can cater to them.
So tickets are just $45 each. That's very reasonable for a night of fine wine and good food.
It includes a 4-course meal and your alcohol as well, so very reasonable, but we wanted to try and keep it that way so as many people could come as possible.
So speaking of alcohol, are there going to be buses transporting people to the houses, or do people need to have a designated driver on the night?
When the people find out what host they're going to, they're all within close proximity to the gallery, then they can choose to carpool with the other people there. But just like anywhere where there's alcohol, everyone has to be responsible for keeping to the limit. So
if we had a group of, say, 6 people and we wanted to be together and we booked, would we be together or would we be separated? Well, the whole idea is to go to a dinner party with a bunch of strangers. That's the whole fun of it, to not know people. So you will always have your partner or friend or a person that you came with, but we really want to encourage people to get out there, meet some new people, have a laugh, have a drink with them, but you will have one person with you, so you don't need to be very shy about it. When do tickets go on sale? They're going to go on sale at the end of February, and they'll be for sale at the gallery directly. And where do the proceeds go? The proceeds come all back to the gallery because we're a charitable trust. We're 100% donations based, so that's going to keep us going for a while. Absolutely fantastic. It sounds like a great idea. And tickets, like you say, just $45. Can we get them from the gallery?
Yes, people can come into the gallery, or if you don't physically come in, you can ring up and reserve and pick them up on the night.
Beautiful. Thanks for coming in,
That's all right, thank you.
The owners and insurers of the wrecked arena will be applying for resource consent to leave the back section of cargo ship on Astrolabe Reef. For many of us, we no longer have to be reminded of that awful day in October 2011, but for those who live on Motiti Island, they say this will be a constant reminder. I found out what life is like there now. For those who have never been to the islands, how much do the locals rely on that coastline?
It's part of the way of life over there. The whole island itself is, it's like you're living on a fishing boat. So the fish life, the shellfish life is really amazing, and so deserves, our protection. It's one of the first places that charter boats head to if they're going out fishing, and make sure that people catch something. They'll head out towards Motiti and fish off the reefs out there. So not just to the people on the island, but a lot of people derive their livelihood from ensuring that the marine environment is kept pristine as best we can. It'd be terrible if the day came that we couldn't do that, and I believe that we have this obligation to make sure that continues. I'd hate to think that my grandchildren can't enjoy the same sort of things that I did when I was a kid in those waters.
Do you eat the kaimoana from the coastline now?
People only take kaimoana from the southern end of the island, which is right down the furthest point away from where the wreck is. They say that up the northern end, people get ill if they start eating things from that part of the island, so they just don't.
Looking back to that awful day in October 2011, what effect did that have on the locals? I mean, how did you feel?
I think it was fine until the oil started coming ashore, but up until that point, it was just a boat that had run aground, and surely they can get the damn thing off and take it away. So it wasn't until the oil and then the other debris started coming ashore as the ship broke up and the containers started breaking up that people started to realise, oh, this is serious. And then, the devastation from having oil over all the rocks and the sand and everywhere else, having choppers coming in and out, people having to rely on volunteers to come out from the mainland to help clean up the beaches. Enormous impact on the people on the island.
And as long as that wreck stays there, that will affect it?
Yeah. Oh, it's a constant reminder of what's happened, what's happened to us. And it's a constant reminder to us of how powerless we are in these situations.
Coming up after the break, the young boy fighting to grow. If you have just joined us, welcome to Central News. Hamilton 3-year-old Toby Dale suffers from a rare genetic growth disorder called Russell-Silver syndrome. His family are fundraising to take Toby to a conference in Chicago in July, where Toby can be seen by experts. Toby is an identical twin, yet his brother Finn doesn't have the same syndrome. And as their mum Jackie Dale explains to Anne-Marie, doctors here in New Zealand don't really have the answers.
Yeah, well, it's a really rare situation, so a lot of the doctors were really puzzled about it, and in the beginning one of the doctors thought that they must be fraternal for Toby to be so different, but we've since had them genetic tested and they are identical, and now I've learned that the change happens after the twinning takes place, so even though they've got the same DNA, it's more about an imprinting error with the chromosomes afterwards.
Toby is fed by a Mickey button. What is this?
It's a little plug that's in his stomach that goes directly into his stomach. So he's got a port and he's fed by a tube.
How often do you feed him?
He's fed for 10 hours overnight, so he's on a continuous feed pump. And during the day, he's got a little backpack and we feed him 3 times a day. It takes an hour to run the feed through because he's so intolerant of volume in his stomach that we have to do it very slowly.
Are there any medications that could help Toby?
Yep, he's on several medications at the moment for reflux and delayed gastric emptying, so his stomach doesn't empty quick enough, and he's always feeling full. Overseas and in America, there's medications that are used for Russell-Silver syndrome that aren't used in New Zealand. They use an appetite stimulant, which seems to work really well. It's not funded in New Zealand and they don't use it for Russell-Silver. And also growth hormone therapy. There's lots of evidence that it really helps Russell-Silver syndrome children not only grow, but also help them with their appetite, their immunity, their bone density, and more.
Tell me about the Magic Foundation conference in Chicago. Why is it so important to take Toby?
All the Russell-Silver syndrome experts are over there. I've joined the Magic Foundation a year ago. MAGIC stands for Major Aspects of Growth in Children. They've taught me so much. They've helped me network with other families all over the world with children with Russell-Silver syndrome, and we have an opportunity for Toby to see the world's top specialists when we're over there, as well as for me to learn a lot more about how I can help him. It seems to be really important that he needs to see these people before he turns 4 because treatment needs to start early.
You're fundraising to get Toby to the Magic Foundation conference. Tell me about this.
We have a Give a Little site, Toby's Magic. We have a Facebook page and we're holding a massive online auction on Trade Me as well, so we're asking for things to donate to sell.
For more details or to donate, go to facebook.com/Toby's Magic. Now for our region's weather, Waikato everywhere is looking like a fine Wednesday with light winds. Hamilton, your expected high is 29 and an overnight low of 12. Paeroa, your expected high is 25 and an overnight low of 14. Matamata, 24 and 14. Te Awamutu, a warm 29 and an overnight low of 12. And Tokoroa is 25 and 11. Bay of Plenty, fine with light winds there too. Tauranga, your expected high is 25 and an overnight low of 15. Te Puke, 24 and 13. That is Central News for today. Like us on Facebook or email us and let us know what you think of our new format. news@tvcentral.co.nz. Anne-Marie will be here tomorrow night with more guests from in and around our regions. I'm Hilary Twistle. I hope you have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.